It's time for Cutting Edge Consciousness with Freeman Michaels and Barnett Bain. Thought-provoking discussions and bold ideas from the edge of possibility.
If you don't mind, I'd love to just go drill down a little bit more into this point that you make. I think it's a really important one. If we're going to make changes, if we're going to make the kinds of changes in ourselves that Chip is alluding to and that Chip models so well, yeah, it is disruptive, potentially disruptive, but does it have to be, or can we begin to make change at a rate and at a speed and at a pace and on a scale that opens us up from the inside out and gradually, so that this is not a dramatic, doesn't have to be a dramatic where I sweep out everything that ever was.
Yeah.
But what Chip is, one of the many, many things that I heard him say is the antidote to unhappiness is gratitude. And that we can begin to foster. And it's a challenge to be grateful. I work on that in my own life, and I am increasingly more grateful, but sometimes it's a challenge.
Absolutely.
And it is a challenge to connect to gratitude. It involves a heart connection. You can't be, I don't think that you can be grateful as a head trip.
No,
you
wouldn't go over very well.
You can't kind of think that you're being grateful, but it is a heart experience to be grateful. And sometimes I'm such a mental guy that sometimes when I most would benefit from feelings of gratitude, I am kind of lost in the go round of the head, and I forget that it's a hard experience.
I love it. I want to track back to what you were talking about.
Yeah.
Is it always, disruptive? Is it always risky and to do something that doesn't fit within what we've called the construct, right? Our programming, our agreements, our ideas about who we are, what's possible, and how the world works. When we start to paint outside the lines, is that always disruptive? Does it have to be? I have an answer for that. Initially, I think the answer is yes.
Initially, the answer is yes.
But what Chip is modeling is at some point, it just becomes a way of operating. In other words, there's been enough work done. There's enough of a foundation where my sense of Chip is, I don't think he's tracking back to the reservation anytime soon.
No.
I think he's realized that he can live a bigger, more expansive experience, and he's going for it.
You live loud, you live large, you live outside the lines, and the lines have a way of expanding.
Yeah.
So we've called this on the show the fun cube, or the liveness cube, or the third story, or the success cube. It's literally an imaginal box that we live inside.
It's a bigger playground.
And we raise the roof of our the magnitude of our exploration, and we blow out the sides of it in terms of adding more range to the experiences of our exploration, and we push out the back and allow for more meaning, for more of a sense of the quality of that experience. And that is there's some resistance to that because it's new, it's unfamiliar. It involves going back to becoming a beginner. It involves a lot of all kinds of old, habituated feelings and responses and thoughts and opinions and judgments about ourselves. They all come up for re-exam.
They do. But the guiding quality or principle, as Chip said, he's a curious guy. It's curiosity. It strikes me.
It's curiosity. I am really blessed to know Chip as a friend.
Yeah.
So it is curiosity. It's also heart.
Okay, and I'm totally with you.
There are a lot of very, very curious people who don't have access to the same ability to to create safety
Mm.
and security for themselves and for other people, and to see other people for where they are without having to have them be different.
I love it.
And Chip has that.
It's a great distinction because the heart is what gives it the impact. So curiosity without the heart piece is like you can, fiddle around with like, wouldn't it be cool to do this or that? But the idea that there's a larger sense of meaning and purpose, and
Yes.
again, generated from a heart.
Horrible crimes have been committed in the name of curiosity
Yes.
without heart.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. So, but going back to the expanding playing field, I think of children when they first discover they can do something, and the sort of giddy exuberance. And I don't know Chip personally, but I get that piece
got
from
that.
him. He got that.
He's got that.
He kept that somehow.
Yeah,
Hey,
he's
wait
got
a
that.
minute. How'd you keep that? I think that's fantastic.
Yeah, he's got that.
Yeah.
Plus, he's the best dancer in the world.
Really? That's
Unbelievable.
fantastic.
I think if he dances away, and I look at my wife Sandy, and I think maybe we should just watch.
Well, it's interesting because that is, in my mind, or from my experience even, a bit of permission. I mean, we've talked about this with Antonio.
It is. That's a really great point, and
Yeah.
it ties back into who he models as a man. This is a man who gives himself permission to cut loose, and he does it with such elegance. Now,
All right, so
it
now we're
could be
doing
that
the-
once upon a time he didn't do it with elegance, but it
Right.
sure is elegant now.
Well, we've defined now.
That's really nice.
If you're listening to the rest of the show, Chip, the three things vis-a-vis Chip Conley required to have an extraordinary life: permission, curiosity, and heart. We
There
should
we
write our
go.
own book.
There we go. We're going
There
to
we
get our
go.
own emotional equation there.
That's right. The Barnet and Freeman equation.
It's the appendix.
That's beautiful. But I think that's really, it's worth noting because it's interesting because I'm working on salsa right now. I don't know how well I'm doing, but Jasmine and I committed to another thing.
Salsa lessons.
Yeah, we started taking them. Tuesday nights at 3rd Street Dance. If you're listening, you can
We
join
did
me
tango
there.
at Third Street Dance.
Oh, did you? That's
We did.
outstanding.
We
So,
did.
yeah, so we're working on this, and one of the things, there's two things. I'm working on getting in my body. You're working on getting in your body. And maybe the three things, actually, because something else comes to mind. But one of them is permission. So I want to get in my body. I want more permission. And then this other little piece that we started the show with, and I'm not trying to tie it back, but it just seeps into everything, is this idea that I don't have to compete all the time. Because, I used to be on stage and I had to dance, not as a function of being an actor and being cast in musicals and having to do this thing. So I was never great at, but I mean, whatever, I did it. And it was always pressure to get it right. And that, we've called it a tyranny. In fact,
Because we're never in the moment. There's always a part that's
it
observing
robs me
and
of my joy.
measuring. Am I doing
Yes.
well? Am I doing it
Oh.
right?
it's excruciating.
Yeah.
And I just want to dance with my wife. I'm tired, Barnett. I'm tired of competing all the time. I'm tired of it. That's the truth. I just want to dance with my wife. I just want to hold this woman I love and be able to move with her. And I have to go take classes for that. But I'm working on it. And look, it's about permission. And then the idea of curiosity, that there's always something we could explore. If you ask me, and this is not a show to say, prescriptions for how to have a good love life, but if you take that from what I'm saying, congratulations, I think it's true, is to have something we mutually are exploring. I know you and Sandy do this. And the last piece is that we're connected to our heart. That's the fueling element behind the choices we're making, that it's heartfelt, it's heart opening,
Yes.
all of which it bumps up against my competitive stuff, my idea that I've got to win and that someone else has to lose, that it's a zero-sum game, and I'm ready to move through that. So that's what I'm working on, with 3 minutes left to wrap
3
this
minutes
show
to you can get that.
up.
You can get that tucked in 3 minutes.
Tuck it in, man. Tuck it in.
You can tuck that in.
Barnett's going to tuck it in right now, folks.
You'll get that over that last little competitive bit, trailing edge, and you got 3 minutes.
Yeah. I don't know, 3 lifetimes maybe.
You think?
I don't know. I mean, look, it's interesting because in the moment that I acknowledge that I'm doing it, it does drop away. And then the spirit of wanting to collaborate and cooperate with people. And, we've talked about it.
There's a fear piece
Go ahead.
that is involved in the competition. There's a fear of not belonging. There's a fear of not mattering. There's a fear of being less than. For some, there's a fear of being more than.
Sure.
but there is always some kind of harken back to an early programming of lack. And so above all, there's a kind of compassion as a kind of allowance to that, how in terms of how I respond to this in my own process, and comes up. I look first to understand it, and to be to understand it's a part of me, and it's okay. I don't have to annihilate it. I don't have to judge it. I don't have to. And more often than ever before, I am able to do that in the way that I hold it as an island of behavior, and I am oceanic. So it is not all of me. It is a part of me. When I hold it in that way, I can put it in context that I can be grateful that I have some tools. And sometimes that island seems to be all the geography that is, and I lose sight of the ocean altogether. And it's not a pleasant experience, but it's okay too.
Yeah.
It's okay too.
This is a big part. We've been talking about this a lot. How do I want to be with the part of me that shows up in this way? And it's this idea of compassion and really allowing for it, but obviously not letting it direct our choices. To the degree we have an observer for it, a compassionate observer.
And to the degree that we have the courage to stay in the discomfort, to stay in the awkwardness, without making it, assigning it any particular meaning, without having it, needing it to conform to a whole bunch of story around past history. That's the temptation. So we always want to frame it in something. This means this, or this means that. This means this about somebody, or this means this about me. It's challenging to be able to stay in that dissonance.
I love it. Hey, you know something?
And make it okay.
Yeah. You know something I think we did well on this show? We could easily have gone to trying to look at this systemic competition in business. We didn't. Like that we didn't do that. Because again, the idea of personalizing, though I note how something can happen on a personal level and have a bigger impact, but I didn't. I'm glad we didn't go to finger wagging. So that's all I want to say.
Well, maybe we're maturing.
Oh,
maybe at last we are maturing.
Oh, that's beautiful. Well, if you'd like to watch us mature further, you can tune in next week.
Please tune in and see.
We're liable to learn something between now and then. That's fantastic.
You know, we're learning. We're learning. I think we've talked about this. The personal process.
Yeah.
What begins as a personal process becomes a global process.
That's it.
And so what begins as a personal taking of responsibility for everything from my own happiness to my own choosing of gratitude to my own competitiveness, it begins in time and in space. It begins to show up in the outer world as well. And with that, I think I'm going to sneeze.
You sneeze over there. This is the outer edge of the show. We are grateful that you took the time.
Fringes now.
You took the time to join us, and we encourage you to keep coming back to Cutting Edge Consciousness.
See you
Thanks
next
for listening.
week.